Below right hand corner.
Okay.
Bottom left hand corner. The right hand corner.
You can do that, or you can go up here, slideshow, and from the beginning, and same thing for the other one when you're out there.
So tell I don't use PowerPoint a lot.
So we're all set, Jerry. If you want to introduce yourself.
My name is Jerry Langham. I'm the fitness director at the Rec Center at MTSU. I have been here in that position September of '99. And prior to that, I was a student here for undergrad and grad school, so I've been here for a long time. My degree is wellness, exercise science, and then wellness and health promotion. So some nutrition and exercise, a mutt of them all actually, not like an exercise scientist who want to make people hurt by putting them on treadmills. I don't agree with that one. But I'm going to go through our power points. If you have any questions, I will definitely leave some time at the end. So you can ask me anything you need to, except for prices of the Rec Center. I'm not sure about that. But Lisa's presentation, nuts and bolts of nutrition. She wants to make it kind of easy, but she starts off with a word that people are like, what do you mean a macronutrient? Basically, we're talking about fats, carbs, proteins. It's what our body sees as a bread as, okay, is a carb. A potato is a carb. Cane sugar, simple sugar, they're all carbs. Okay, we all know there's different ones, and we'll go over that later. Proteins, that's again, is what we eat every day. Protein's going to be a meat, a bean. Fats. It's what gets a very, very bad rap. People are like, stay away from fats. It's like, well, why? Your body's going to make it if you stay away from it, and might try to make more than what you're going to consume. And we'll go over some of that as we go on too, as well. Carbohydrates, again, you want 55%. So basically, at least half of your diet from carbs. But it's got to be the right ones, okay? How many people like bread? Seriously. How many people like whole wheat bread? See? Okay, one, but exactly. But whole wheat. People are like, oh, it's so hard to do that. That's one of the simplest things to do. Pasta, whole wheat pasta. Simple things that make a lot of difference. What's the difference? Most white powdered it's so broken down that your body doesn't have to digest it. It's already done for you. So that ease makes everything, the nutrients absorb faster and your body will not take care of them the way they should. It won't help you the way they should. Your brain only uses carbs. So if you know somebody who goes on the Atkins diet and they turn really stupid, you might know why. No, that's really not it. But being lethargic, just the normal brain processes if you deprive yourself of carbs. One reason they say that breakfast is very important, especially being, most of our breakfast foods are breads, but those carbs going in the morning, especially for kids, they go into school, they're learning, and their body's awake, their mind's awake, they have more attention. Okay? Us going to work, being most of the people start in the mornings. If you eat breakfast, a lot of the belief and the thought is that's going to lead to a better day. And it's mental. Literally, it's mental. Important sources or nutrients, fiber. Again, fiber not in processed wheats though. That's the biggest reason that the whole wheats, whole pastas are important, is fiber. It's not going to be in processed flours and sugars and such. Vitamins and minerals, and again, if they're processed, if you see anything that is processed, it'll hint somehow or a way that it has vitamins put into it. The only reason they have to fortify it is because they unfortify it by processing it. And then they want to make sure all the nutrients are back in, so they'll put it in. Sometimes it might be more than what they bleached out, but at least they do put it in. But again, it's not natural. And the fiber. Fiber in processed pasta versus whole wheat pasta, it's almost non-existent. That also helps the way it digests. Okay, I'm a diabetic, and I can eat a whole wheat piece of bread and almost not have to take insulin. I will have to take some. If I eat a piece of white bread, I'm taking insulin, period. As soon as I eat it, I might as well be, because it processes and breaks down in my body into my bloodstream much faster. It does the same thing for everybody else. If you eat, for lunch, you go eat a high rice meal, you go back to the office and you're lethargic, your hypothalamus is telling you you're hungry because you ate a simple carb, your blood sugar spiked. When your blood sugar spiked, your body told your pancreas to produce insulin. It produced too much because it's all not like a bell curve. The sharper it is, the sharper it is, the more insulin. If it's too sharp, which would be a lot of sugars, when it finally drops because of insulin produced, it's way past the baseline that your body, the lack of carbs in your blood is what tells your body you're hungry. That's what triggers your hypothalamus. Ooh, I'm hungry. I mean, it's not just the stomach. Your stomach can growl just because it's working on things. It doesn't mean you're hungry. Your head's what tells you you're hungry. It's because of the lack of sugars. Okay. That's why it's also important when you have a meal, not just all to be carbs, fats, or proteins. Have all of it. It all helps itself digest. Proteins slow down the carbs from digesting. Fats slow it down from digesting as well. And in an exercise state, you really can't burn fat without a carb. They help each other. When a triathlete or a runner would hit the wall where they physically can't move anymore, they've depleted all of their carbs out and they can't even use their fat anymore. And so they all help. They all help each other. Again, good carbs, bad. Simple, processed. Cane sugar, that is brown. You've seen that before, brown granulated sugar. It might cost more, but it's so much better for you than the white sugar. Vegetables, fruits, you cannot go wrong on that. That's all carbs. Fruits are carbs. Those are all good though. You know, fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. Again, but not 90% of your diet. One of the worst things in the world for you as far as a sugar is concerned, and I guarantee you I can prove it by taking my blood sugar, eating a Pop-Tart, and before I'm finished, taking it again and show you how high it's already went. Okay? The simple things I used to gorge on, can't even touch anymore. And I guess that's a good thing, but Pop-Tart was my standby. I could read it. I knew it was carbs. I know how to read. I still ate them. They were good, but now I know why I ate them, because they were too good. Now if I smell one, I can smell, they're so sweet. But you train yourself. So what I'm getting at with that is, if you're like, oh, I cannot stand whole grain, and break them into yourself. Don't necessarily jump in with 2 feet. Take your time if you don't eat a lot of whole wheat breads to get there. I cannot, to this day, though, eat whole wheat biscuits that are canned. I still have to have the flaky ones. I can't they're horrible. They just don't, if they're not handmade biscuits, I pretty much want just a buttery type. We all have our faults, but yeah, the biscuits and whole wheat, if they're not handmade, I cannot do that yet. I've tried and they're not good. So again, we all have our things. I'm not going to eat oatmeal squares. I'm not going there. I don't know. So a lot of people love them. Table sugars, sodas. The only time I drink a soda now is when my blood sugar is low. And when I do it, whoa, there's so much sugar in this Dr. Pepper. How did I used to do this? But until you stop, you don't know. My mom's was M&Ms. Loved them. Last 4 months, she's lost 40, 50 pounds. She is actually eats just chocolate-covered almonds now because the M&Ms are just too sweet. I never thought I'd hear her say that in her life, ever. I didn't force her. I didn't do it. Potatoes, I know they're white, and so it's not, those are not processed. A potato is good for you. All the dressing, the cream, that's not, okay? Moderation, good. You know, just like a salad, all the fruits, vegetables, salad, good. Dip your fork, don't pour the dressing. And we went over the whole fruits, fiber. And by fruits, we're definitely not talking juices, okay? I don't care if the pulp's in it. We're not talking juices. Number one, the time it takes you to eat an orange and you're done. The amount of juice that actually comes in that is what, probably that much in a glass, a couple inches filling up a glass. It's not much. It's all the pulp and the fiber that you're consuming with that that's so good for you and help you out so much. An apple, people who skin the apples, and you want that. It's just part of it that helps you. It's a nutrient thing. It's a fiber. Any questions about carbs? If you do have some, don't trust me, they can come back up. Proteins, 15%. And there's only one I'll argue with because it's only certain times. If you exercise vigorously, you do need a little bit more. You need to recover. Young kids in sports, we need more than 50% protein. Anybody who, let's say, exercises daily probably needs a little bit more than 15. You know, I'm not talking 50. I'm talking probably no more than 25 or anybody. It's kidneys, liver, they don't need that. You can't overdo. And health services can prove to it because they do test on college students that are in pain every semester, and they've got kidneys that should be in a 45-year-old person because all the supplements they've taken or prior to whatever they've taken. Okay? There's a point in time that vanity gets in the way of vanity and defeats all the purposes that they're doing in a gym. Okay? Build, repair muscle tissue. Very important. Again, meat, poultry, fish. How many people eat fish? Okay, how many people have eaten fish this week? Thank goodness it was warm enough to grill Tuesday. I grilled salmon. Keep that up. You just don't understand how many people don't eat fish. And it's not because, and now don't get me wrong, rivers in Tennessee, if you catch a lot of fish, don't eat that a lot over time. We got a lot of mercury in our water. Farm-raised fish that you can see at grocery stores, very good for you. It breaks up the monotony because I don't care if it's once a week. That's something different. And when it comes to trying to eat lean, fresh meat or lean, good meat, fish, I mean, they get fat, they drown. They're not going to do it. They can't do it. It doesn't happen. Beans, nuts, okay? There's a lot of fat in peanuts as well. It's not a saturated fat. It's a good fat. So nuts get a bad name because, oh, they're fat. Because, you know, this whole country has went through the fat thing. Stay away from fats. Don't eat fats. Avocados. They're so huge now in popularity. 10, 15 years ago, you couldn't find them because it's one of the fattiest fruits or vegetables, whatever it is, there is. Has a seed, so I guess that would make it a fruit. So, you know, but that, during the phase of no fats, out with the avocados. Now, you can find them on everything. You know, find them in Subways. I mean, it didn't happen at points in times. And seeds, sunflower seeds. Seeds and nuts fall about in the same category. Low fat, lean sources. Red is the color of meat, white is the color of fat. If you like, a lot of people claim they like marbly meat, which is a fatter cut of meat because it's more tender. Just make sure you cook it till it's done. A lot of that fat will come out, and what that is left is a void, and that meat's no longer connected, and it is more tender. But you don't want to eat rare marbly meat. Okay, it's very. I don't think it tastes good, but it's also not that good for you. But you know, if you can, get the leaner meat. And if you have to go to Kroger and it's the end of the month and you just have to get what you have to get, again, if it's the last thing there or it's all you can get and it's a fatty meat, it can cook longer. And basically, that's why I love the grill. You can get it up high, let it just nice, slow cook. I use a grill more often because of the benefits of them. I mean, I can cook a hamburger that's 80% lean, so 20% fat. And of course, the patty starts off this big and ends up about the size of a raisin, or But just to watch all that grease drain out, and I'm not consuming versus a pan, it's much better for you. Anybody ever grill sausage? I have, and that biggest reason is serious about being like I am. I want to get some of that out, and it's also very good. Had never done it until a couple of years ago, but now I love to grill sausage. Fats, so if fats were so bad, why would we want to consume more than proteins that are so good? Okay, so they're just things like that. They should make sense. The reason for the fats, it's used. It's just in excess. Okay, energy storage. You get more energy out of fat than you do carbs. If much more. 1 gram of fat is 9 calories. 1 gram of carbs is 4 calories. So there's twice as much energy in a fat than a carb. If you walk all day long, now literally, if you started when you woke up and just walked and people gave you the nutrients required to keep you to walking, you're burning fat. Burning fat, that's the majority of what you're burning. If you start going to a jog a little higher, almost a run, and you start laboring and breathing, you're burning carbs. That's basically the energy you use. You can tell by how you're breathing. If your goal is to lose weight, lose fat, walk as long as you can until you get in better shape, and that jogging is as easier wind-wise as the walking was. Okay? But if you want to get in better shape, increase your conditioning, you need to spend more time laboring on the breathing. So goals and what people need will determine on how you exercise and what you burn. Without people low on low-fat diets, absorption of vitamins is down, hormone regulation. I don't know, I think I've ran out of those. I don't know. Everybody says their hormones are going. I'm like, I'm glad I don't have those. Good fats, bad fats. Any fat that goes solid at room temperature is definitely a bad fat. If you have Crisco in your house, please throw it away when you get home. Go buy something that has liquid. That's a liquid. And that's that. There are differences. That really is a bottom line. That's what it does in your body. Okay? At room temperature, if it's a solid, that's why it's so bad in our body, is because it does not stay a liquid. It may gel. It's not going to get to a solid because we're 98 degrees. So, but it's not going to stay the liquid that you may think. It's not saying that Crisco goes straight and clogs your arteries. No, but when it's dissolved, it's still at a molecular level bigger than the other pieces. And over time, it does build up. It does stick together. There is an issue with that. Again, saturated. It raises cholesterol. Trans fat raise cholesterol, especially the low. Which good fats, polyunsaturated and monounsaturated. All that. It's in a microscopic level. It's how many bonds you create and configure the fats. The less bonds, the easier it is for our body to break down. Okay? And the less damage it is. Basically, if it goes to a solid, that's what I mean by saturated. It has got the bonds, or you cannot break it apart basically to use it. It's harder for your body to break it down to where sunflower oil, such like that, very popular. Your body can actually use them, can break those fats down, process them, and it's a benefit. It's almost like a good carb and a bad carb, bad fats and good fats. Proteins, on the other hand, pretty much all good unless they're fatty. but that doesn't involve the protein itself. This is now our food guide pyramid in all essence. Definitely choose myplate.gov. Will help people with meal plans, but dairy used to be a very big part of it. A lot of people believe that was because of the Dairy Association in the days that the food pyramid was done. Grains, fruits, vegetables, majority of this plate, okay? You'd say 75% until you forget this is over here, so that's still say 55%. But proteins, dairy, you notice that it even has fats on it. The last one, the very tip was, I guess, fats and such. So I guess they figure if they get rid of it, then we'll forget it's there and we'll stay away from it, okay? Usually, honestly, fat is in with protein, unless you put a lot of butter in your poor little veggies, and then you've got to mess them up too, okay? Any questions so far? Y'all have a handout, and that's what this making your favorite or doing different things in the kitchen, you know, as far as what you're used to. Butter, oil, a cup of that. And my mom's done this. She has I remember her trying the applesauce thing instead of some of them it works. I've had some of them it doesn't work. My option on those is stay away from them. But this is for you can take this and look at this. We all understand that whole milk is not as good for you as skim milk, but skim milk is missing, I think there's a happy medium, 2% of what you need and don't need in things. Okay, this is me talking, and from what I've understood and I experienced, skim milk, some of that fat's good. It'll help slow down the absorption of the carbs in the milk. Milk has everything in it. That's why it's the lifeline for babies. That's why it's the preferred thing for animals to give their baby. It's that good for them, okay? Not necessarily saying that it's that good for us, but if I'm going to drink it, it used to be the skim. I'd going through college thinking that was the worst thing in the world. Trust me, I was one of them, okay? Didn't eat it, stayed away from it. Oh, snack wells, that's good for you. It doesn't have fat in it. Still nothing but sugars. It still doesn't do you any good, okay? So now, I guess it's sad, but at the age of 20, you hear something and you go with it, and over time you put it together and you realize what it is, and reach my age and okay, now I'm finally putting things together. Why couldn't I do this at 20? My body would have loved me much, much more. Any more questions so far? Or any so far? You haven't had any so far? Reading food labels. Okay. It's all changing. Okay. Hopefully, I want to see how many calories are in the package. If it's a bag of potato chips, like especially a small bag, I don't want to know there's 2.3 servings in that. I can do the math. How many people can though? Most of them you never mind. I'm just going to eat it. Don't even want to try. Okay. Start with serving information. That's how it stands now. Because people, when they first started reading nutrients, they would read, okay, 300 calories. There's only 300 calories in this bag. No, there's 4 servings in that bag. That's 1,200 calories. That's a completely different number. Okay. By checking calories, if I know what she's saying here, if you add up the amount of calories that they say is from the proteins, the fats, and the carbs, sometimes it's not the whole sum. You're like, well, where's the rest of these calories at? Because it doesn't make sense. Usually they're carbs. And they can be hidden as alcohol, sugar alcohol. When it breaks down, it's not for sugar. It's just it's a trick. And it's one of the many that I think the FDA should have stopped a long time ago, or they should stop soon. Check daily values, okay? Their percentages, and usually the daily values are with vitamins and minerals. You want to see a percentage. Note that most labels are based on a person that needs 2,000 calories a day as well. If you want to weigh 200 pounds and sit on your butt all day, that's 2,000 calories a day, approximately. If you want to weigh 150 pounds, but you don't want to exercise, you don't need to consume over 1,500 calories ever, or you're going to gain weight if you don't exercise. So basically, what you want to weigh, if you have a number in your head, I want to weigh this amount, add a 0 to it. Go with those calories. I can give you a lot of formulas, and you can spend hours calculating and be within about 40 calories to 50 calories on every one. Just add a 0. Done it enough. I'm 195 pounds. I want to weigh 200 pounds. I need to consume at least 2,000 calories a day. Then I exercise every day. Okay? If I do weights for 30 minutes, that's more like 250 calories. If I do cardio for 30 minutes, that's more like 500 calories. You actually burn more calories at the given time doing cardio. So then I would have to add that in and go from there. Again, that's on the gain, okay? If you know somebody who might want to lose, or if you may want to lose, you can't make it too much of a deficit of what you weigh at. If I weigh 200 pounds, I want to weigh 100 pounds, I don't need to start consuming 1,000 calories a day. My body will go crazy. Maybe 1,500 would be more like it, because I'm already cutting down on what I'm consuming. You can consume too less and your body store more. It's a double-edged sword. So many people who are trying to lose weight don't consume enough food. So their body, it's a fight or flight. It's like, I am so used to eating more than this and getting more than this. You're not giving it to me. I'm going to store everything you're giving me now. I'm not going to waste a bit of it. And there you are fighting against yourself. It's almost like the body and the brain need to be in harmony. They fight each other a lot. On the values, anything 5% or less, you almost want to know why they even put it in there. It's like, why is it in there? So you can say it's fortified because it has some bit of vitamin A in it. 20% or more is high. And I kind of would rather be high than low. There is such thing as, having too many vitamins, but you're pretty much not going to get that eating food. You're going to pretty much get that eating vitamin pills. Okay? And if you take vitamin pills, there's nothing wrong with that. Make sure it's a multivitamin. If you're taking just vitamin E tablets, guarantee you it needs another one to help itself absorb. Guaranteed. Almost no vitamin operates by itself. It's funny like that. That's why I'm not a nutritionist, because I don't know exactly. The fat-soluble ones work together, the water-soluble ones work together, and some of the fat and water-soluble have to have each other to absorb, just like I was saying, carbs and fats. Okay? Lisa could tell you that. I'm not, like I said, mine's exercise, some nutrition. Limit some things, processed. I just have to go with processed foods. In hers, it's saturated fats, trans fats, which, yes, cholesterol. Remember this, if you're a vegetarian, you have no problem with cholesterol. It's only in living things. It's found in blood. That's really the bottom line of it. Yeah, but that's what it is. So it's most people who have a problem with cholesterol eat fatty foods. They're not vegetarians. If you're a vegetarian and you have high cholesterol, definitely genetics. Best way to prove it. I have a colleague has high cholesterol. I asked him to be a vegetarian for a month. Of course, he refused. I was like, no, be a vegetarian. He's like, why? I was like, because it'll prove it's your genetics, or if it's not, if it's your diet. He didn't believe me. He asked his doctor. His doctor was like, actually, that's true. It probably would. And sodium. I think sodium later in our life is going to be more accepted by the exercise science world. It already is more than the actual world, if you will, because it's a nutrient in sweat. I sweat so much when I exercise. I'm a cyclist. If I exercise indoors, I've got a towel. If I don't have a towel, I've got a mess. So I try not to exercise indoors cardio-wise. If I go to lift weights, I can pretty much lift weights in what I wear to work. I don't get that. It doesn't happen. Even if I go intense. Now, if I do my legs, for some reason, I'll sweat. But no, but I'm the type that my helmet, if I go for a long bike ride, take my helmet off nice and sweaty, sit it down, pick it up the next day, it's got white on the straps, salt. If I work outside all day, take that shirt off, don't throw it in the wash machine before it dries. When I pick it up, salt all that. Okay? I need salt. I do not even look at salt. I add salt, not table salt per se. They're from Europe. They're tablets that have vitamins, but it also about 500 milligrams of salt, which is, they're like, that's ridiculous, because I guess a Gatorade has 4. I'll put it in my Gatorade or my water and drink it when I exercise to replace what I can obviously see in my clothing. Not everybody needs that. See, that's where we come with different strokes, because our chemistry, our genetic. Now, I know people who do cardio and hardly, they'll turn beet red before they start to sweat. They won't sweat, but they're beet red. Their skin handles things differently. Mine shoves fluid out, and theirs basically rushes all the blood to the surface. Different. Again, plenty of fiber. Can't get too much. Vitamin A, C, calcium, and iron. Why calcium and iron? Because they help digest as well. Without one, you can take just calcium, thinking you're doing great things for your bones. You're not if you don't have iron with it. Okay? I add vitamin B to that, because it literally is the Mother Nature's pick-me-up. I mean, if you've never had a vitamin B shot, I have. You're a different person. I cannot explain it. It's like I almost wish I could. Was it legal to give me one every day before I rode a bicycle? There's that much energy in it. I don't know what's illegal about it. I just think it'd be too expensive to get a syringe of it every time you wanted it.
Huh?
If you lived in LA, you could get one.
Is that how it would happen? I'll pass. I've visited there, and I looked out the hotel room, was like, that's way too much traffic. Any questions about the nutrition part? Please.
Only about dairy. My husband is vegetarian. He said he'll eat some sushi, but he is completely off it.
Yeah, well.
He says, not good for you, not good for adults, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it's like, there are, I was just at ACSM conference, and there are a couple diets that absolutely restrict dairy products. I completely say the heck with that. I love cheese. I mean, I can see a lot of people really think that milk, especially cow milk, should just be consumed by cows. It is horrible for humans. It's killing humans. I did that a long time ago, especially me. I've been through phases like 2 gallons won't last a day. I don't know.
But there is a school of thought, I guess.
Yeah, there really is. No, there's a huge school of thought on that. Yeah, but again, on that one with the dairy aside, that's part of that school of thought's what's gotten that away a little bit. I mean, they really believe that the cattle industry and the dairy industry in the 70s influenced the government with bribes to include it on the food guide pyramid, or they were afraid they were going to go out of business. So they did it. There are a lot of people who say no to milk, especially cow milk. But guess what? Just the thought of drinking human milk kind of makes me. Just the thought. I mean, but think about it. Why aren't we drinking cow milk versus a human? I mean, if you really want to argue about it, I can see where they cut, but there's no proof. Medically and scientifically, they can't say that, because broken down on a molecular level, no matter how we think about it on our head, how gross it may be, it's nothing but carbs, fats, proteins, and water. When you break it down to the nutrient level, it's not necessarily anything by itself that can stand alone to hurt you. You cannot tell him that and him believe you either. That's the bad part. Okay. So I just close this one out?
Yeah, you can just exit. And the other one is.
Yeah, it's here. Okay. This one should be less time because I made it, so I know it's on every slide much better because I studied hers, but not as well. And she made me put pictures. I didn't put a picture in it until I saw hers. I was like, yeah, gum you, Lisa. But again, exercise, I want to do exercise recommendations and options, okay? The recommendations, I'm actually going to be honest, they're not for an adult who hasn't exercised in a while. They're almost for an athlete to maintain what they have, okay? So I definitely won't, and I'll correct them and tell you what I think is a little too much in it because, but American College of Sports Medicine, there have always been 3 exercises that they recommend: cardiorespiratory, resistance training, flexibility. They've added one. In 2011, it is neuromuscular exercise, okay? Fancy word for Tai Chi and yoga? Basically, it's balance. It's functional training. It's the ability to lay down on the ground without using your hands and get up without using your hands. Simple things like that. Balancing on one leg. Things that will help you in your lifetime. Standing on a Bosu ball with a weight in your hand, you're thinking is ridiculous. It's actually, nowadays, it is one of the best things you can do. Functional training. It helps your balance, helps your coordination. If you do it now, when you get to be the age most people start to fall and hurt themselves, you're not going to be falling and hurting yourself. That's the real reason for it. Functional training. Lifting a weight, not just for a vanity muscle. Lifting it and twisting to make sure, because that's how people get hurt. Back injuries. I picked it up and I turned. Well, then why don't we start picking up light things and turning? So when we pick up something heavy and turn, we don't do that. Martial arts, Pilates, yoga, something, something that when I was young, I don't think I'd ever done because I'm not sweating, I'm not going 100%. That's not exercise. But I guess if you do that to yourself for so long and you start breaking yourself, you realize, oh my gosh, that really was excess. Okay. I've done more yoga this semester, and I can do things that I have pains gone that I haven't in a long time. Low back pain, shoulder pain. I used to wake up in the shoulder all the time. I'm in a pretzel twice a week, and that somehow that pain gets rid of other pain. Cardiorespiratory exercise, cardio exercise. We should get, according to them, 150 minutes a week. Let's start and let's stop. Is that what they're saying? Or we start and not stop. Is that what they're saying? That's a long time. You can break it down however you want to. For the common person, that's a very, very long time. Luckily, and actually, I don't even know why. I don't even like to see it as 150 minutes because a lot of people just try to get rid of that 150 minutes as soon as they can. You really need to make that last, stretch that out. But then again, I see recommendations today that are based off what was 20 years ago, and because people don't do them, they've reduced them. Like, what do you mean? You can do it, like, and I'll get to that. Recommendations, okay. If you basically moderate walking pace, you have to spend more time doing that than a jogging pace. That's all there is to that. Half court basketball, you play more basketball than if you play full court basketball. That's how it goes. Probably, lap swimming versus recreational swimming. Like I said, the easier you do something, water yoga does not take as much as land yoga or land exercise aerobic classes. Okay, Basically, the harder you can push yourself, the shorter you have to exercise. Okay? That used to not be thought as the same. It's almost like they recognize that running out of breath is a little bit more intensity, so it actually does count for a little more. When I graduated college with everything I was doing in personal training, everybody, if you want to lose fat, basically walking all day long. And now I've got people doing intervals, even if they want to lose weight, because it helps as well. Why? Because the interval builds a muscle helps burn fat as well. If you don't have the muscle, you just burn the fat when you exercise. So if we can throw a little bit of muscle on you, we speed up how much fat you just burn daily, just by sitting around. Okay? And women are thinking, oh, I don't want muscle. Oh, yeah, you do. I mean, I guarantee you that these women that you see in these magazines have help. Because the guys that are standing next to them, they have help. Because the women look like me. And the guys look like the horse that they got the steroid from. Okay? We're not going to look like that. I exercise every day, and in vanity, part of me wants to be, I don't know what I have to do to look like that. I don't want to, but I'm just, when you get at it, so I can, I wish I could bring some girls in here who are in the rec center, especially the weight room, daily. I respect how they look. I don't find it gross at all. And most women wouldn't. If I could bring them in here and say, this girl is in there every day, she's toned, she's not fat, she's not a bodybuilder. Even if she wanted to be, she could not be. Okay? Maybe 5% of women, 10, 15% of men have the genetics to actually be able to bodybuild. And hey, if we find it, because you've never exercised and you go in the weight room and all of a sudden you just start getting big, we'll just get you a sponsor. You just keep exercising. You're genetically built for it. Take it. I guarantee you it's not most of us. The third bullet is where I kind of don't like. So many people won't exercise for 20, 30, 40 minutes. They say, okay, do it 10 minutes. But do it a whole bunch of times and they're done. Okay, it really doesn't. No, it doesn't work that well. It does take your body a while to get comfortable in an exercise regimen and your body to start using, burning fat, using the carbs, moving things around. 10 minutes? 10 minutes on a lot of studies isn't even long enough for your body to start burning significant fat. Okay? Now, what would help is if you could add a 10-minute into your normal exercise routine. Let's say I'm coming over here from working out to do a presentation, and I use the stairs instead of the elevator. That's just going to be a bonus, no matter what you do. I mean, I think we should shut down all the elevators, but I mean, I also believe we should take all chairs from behind a desk as well. I mean, I sit on an exercise ball, and I want a treadmill in my office, but I mean, we'll get into that. Gradually, again, the fourth bullet is for them covering themselves, because this is literally off of their website. But it's gradual progression of exercise. This 150, this 60, and this 60, I'll have to say are for people more like me. I exercise a lot. That's all I'm saying there. The 20 and the 30 are actually minimum recommendations for starting off. If you're just now starting off and your goal is to burn fat, I want you to walk for 30 minutes. I mean, realistically. And I'll tell people, I want you to try to walk for 20. If you can, aim for 25. If you can, aim for 30. Talk to me tomorrow. They'll let me know what they did. We'll adjust from there. It's perceived. It's how they perceive it, not how I perceive it. I don't perceive walking as hard, so I need you to walk 2 hours. So you don't know what's in my perception. But the gradual progression of time, you start at 30, you work to 60, you start at 20, you work to 60, and you actually start with the moderate to easy before you ever move to the intense, if you're a beginner, okay? The most important one to me, and it's why I don't understand a lot of the rest of it, is people unable to meet these minimum requirements will still benefit from some activity. So you making everybody else feel like crap because we can't all do all this? No, that's hope. Hence, get up and move around. You got family, you got kids, they love to see you playing when they are in high school. They love to throw a ball. They love to be able to do something with their parents. Resistance exercise, okay? Adults, 2 to 3 times a week, okay? Easiest time to do it is when you get done with your cardio. It really is. It's the best time to do it too. Walk for 20, 30 minutes and go into and then go find some weights. Your body's warmed up, it's ready to go, okay? Light intensity is better for older people, especially sedentary adults. You know, sit-wise, what a sit is every time you get down and you do an exercise, you want to do it 2 to 4 sits. But it's the reps that are important, okay? 8 to 12 reps will help improve strength, okay? 10 to 15 will help, yeah, that's where I'm at. Actually, power, 12 to 8, muscular endurance, and muscular health. Excuse me. I like people who use machines versus free weights. I don't hear a lot of people say that. It's because if you're going 8 to 12, that 8 or that 12 should be the last one you can do. It's not just stop at 8 to 12, you're going to get stronger. Because if you can do that weight 20 times, you're almost not even doing anything worth stimulating yourself. That's the trick when it comes to lifting weights. It's the fact that you really, in my opinion, want to do 3 sets, and then you pick the numbers according to how you want to perceive yourself to look. And if it's 20, we're talking that number 20, you should not be able to almost finish. You definitely shouldn't be able to do number 21. What do you do if you can? Add some weight. It's fight or flight. That's how our body operates. It doesn't see a dumbbell. It doesn't see a cable that we're pulling. It has a resistance going against it. And if it encounters that resistance enough, it's got to change. So it all comes back to fight and flight. Even with cardio, you push yourself past the comfort limit to uncomfortable, your body has to change. Has no choice. It's gonna fight. It's not gonna give up. It wants to give up while doing the exercise, but after you've done it, it's got to adjust. It's going to get stronger. I see people go in there all the time for years. They still look the same, whether it be really skinny or very overweight. That's because they're going through the motions, but they're not giving their body enough stimulus to think fight or flight, to make that change. And that you have to get out of your comfort zone. If you stay in your comfort zone, things don't change. If I'm sitting there taking a yoga class and I stop because that hurts my hamstring, then guess what? It's always going to stop that far. I got to get past that point. Okay? It says adults. Everybody should wait. If I do my chest and my back today, then for 2 days, and the next 2 days, if I want to do weights again, I need to do my legs. Skip, wait 24 or 48 hours. It's about recovery. So if you want to do a full body regimen on Mondays, Thursdays, the next day you can exercise. Okay? Then Sunday, then or Wednesday, Saturday. Basically, if you do a full body workout, you're gonna rotate the days of the week you actually work out, because it's even versus odd. Doesn't work out that way. So I know a lot of people are like, oh, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I do everything. I accept that. They don't. But again, it's really, I want you to do what you can do. If we have to follow all of these guidelines, I'm out. I've been a fitness director for 15 years, and I try to stay active. Okay, I mean okay. Flexibility. 2 to 3 times a week. Guess when it's best done? After you've exercised, not before. Not before. You want them to be warmed up, soft, pliable. Okay. Hence, it's easier. You're more flexible in the wintertime or in the summertime than the winter, believe it or not. Each stretch, 20 to 30 seconds. The longer, the better. Period. The longer you hold the stretch, the better it is. No more than, necessarily a minute, but the longer the better. Again, at the bottom, most effective when you're warm. If you're sore and you want to stretch to avoid that soreness, walk for 5 minutes. Do something don't just get out of bed and stretch. Especially, getting out of bed and just doing your morning stretch, that's a good thing. Getting out of bed and going into a yoga routine, supposedly, because if you've ever taken yoga, it's 10 minutes before you really start to do anything. They're trying to get the body warm, trying to get the attention. Same philosophy. When you finish yoga, what do? You spend 15 minutes stretching and cooling down and stretching everything you just stretched. You're just trying to figure it out again, but it works. Trust me, I can feel it. And that's where we go with the neuromotor exercise. Functional fitness training, 2 to 3 times, 2 to 3 days per week. And again, motor skills, balance, agility, coordination. I did a BOSU training the other day. What's a BOSU, boss? I'm going to ask. This thing, cut in half with a platform on it. It's a little dome. You stand on it. You can step up and down on it. The training I took, I felt like I was in a step class that replaces the BOSU ball. Every time you step, there's a balance thing there. Like, I was so sore for 3 days. Stuff I didn't know I had or forgot I had because I'm used to using a quad and a hamstring. I'm not necessarily used to everything else having to kick in. Well, I'm doing a squat on a BOSU ball. I can do it on flat ground all day. Put me on the BOSU ball and oh my gosh, this balance and coordination. Put it this way, we rely on our senses so much. First thing she did is make us get on the ball and close our eyes. You open your eyes and see people just off the ball. You can't it's like, wow, really? Are you serious? Okay, then you get us on there, okay. And dumbbells in our hands, okay. Shoulder raises, down, close your eyes, shoulder raise. Like, well, I can't even stand it, but over time, your body, muscles that you're not used to firing around each other are doing so. Whether it be a push-up on the BOSU ball, the balance, coordination, it all is a good thing. 20, 30 minutes a day or 1 hour yoga classes a week. What are your options? Okay, at the rec center, we've got personal training, and that involves a yoga instructor as well. She'll do a one-on-one yoga. People don't know if they can do yoga, hire her. She'll make sure you know what a pose is, why that pose exists. As far as I'm concerned, if you've never done yoga, that's the best thing you could ever do is take her as a one-on-one yoga instructor. That way, when you do go in that yoga class, you're like, what did she say? Do what? What's that called? No, that sounds horrible. It's not. Prices, cheap, they're just to tell you. We have group exercise classes. We have at least 50 group exercise classes a week. If we don't have something you want, please email me. I will find an instructor if I can to teach it. That's the only reason I don't have the class to begin with, because I don't have someone who wants to teach it. Huh? I'll find an instructor. The bad thing is the equipment. We won't have the equipment. That's why we went with the yogas, because there's no, that's the biggest justification. But we have had Pilates before without the equipment. Most people just don't like it. I'm sure I can find that. Anybody else? I'll listen. I got a clock and Pilates from this meeting alone, okay? Our boot camp classes are very popular. We offer a lot of those. And it's just, you don't know what it's going to be. Basically, it's instructor's choice. They'll beat you up one way or another and have you smiling and laughing the whole time. And we've got a Get Fit, Stay Fit program, a faculty wellness staff program that's not on here because that's usually just during the fall. And that one, you can meet up to 11 weeks for the whole session, and you meet with a trainer every week. Thank you. It really is especially for the money. I guarantee you, my prices is because I have to pay kids to do this stuff. I have to pay certified instructors that are not cheap, or it'll all be free. But if it's all free, nobody will want it because they don't see a value in it. I've learned that. You would think that, okay. The very bottom one is actually something that Sarah saw, and she's mad at me for putting on there because I don't have any information to her about it. but me and Mark and Austin and Hannah all want to do this. We're tired of people saying they can't come to us. We're coming to, here I am, in this. You realize how easy it would be to rearrange these and have a group exercise, a yoga instructor, or a personal trainer come over here and do a one-on-one for a whole group. Like I said, it's really, people, faculty, staff don't want to be comfortable going over there. I know we can go to Dean's and go to places. $25, I think is well worth $25 because there's not a limit on how many people you have.
Plus, we can close all the blinds.
And I'm not joking. I mean, if I can find anybody to buy into that, it'll go crazy. It really will, because that's the biggest thing I hear from faculty and staff. They don't want to go over that. So if I can find deans who would let it happen even during the day, that's even better, because then they don't have to go over there after work. It's like I said, it's a battle I'm willing to try, and I've gotten staff on board with it. I've got 4 staff that are very willing to go anywhere on this campus and do one-on-one training. They can bring the equipment, we can bring anything. We've got mats, we've got boats and balls, we have exercise balls. It'd be $25 each visit, and you'd have them for an hour. And even if people, let's say that we couldn't get that, because I know some people can get that out of their apartments. If you couldn't get that out of the apartment, you get 5 people together for a yoga class, a one-on-one yoga class, it's $5 a person.
So if we had a faculty meeting on Friday, you could actually come in the half hour before for people who'd like to do a little.
Yeah, if you would do, if we could, yeah, I mean, stuff like that, that's what I'm talking about, that's what I want. If they don't want, and then like I said, it's just thinking outside the box. It's thinking about something, it's like, let's get out of here then. If somebody doesn't want to come here, and I threw that out to them this semester, and immediately they're like, yes. I was like, really? I actually did it as a text. I was like, hey, how's this idea sound? And out it went, and I got great feedback. I'm sorry this went so long. And this is the last slide, but these are your other options that we have at the rec center. Some you'd think about, obviously basketball. We have more basketball court square footage than anything in that building. Thank you. We have a soccer arena. We have racquetball courts. Seen you there doing that. We have an indoor track. I've seen her on that. Our table tennis, swimming, outdoor volleyball courts. We have an outdoor adventure center. They go Coe, and they're going to the Coe Saturday and Sunday and go on whitewater kayak. They do that every semester for 20 years. They go on rock climbing trips. They go on flat water kayaking, mountain bike trips, rock climbing. And we can all, anybody, they go to Hawaii, they go skiing. We got some spoiled staff over there. Group exercise, weight room, cardio room, climbing wall. Okay. Any questions?
I had a question, Gary, the different categories of exercise that we're talking about. One of the problems that I have personally, but I imagine a lot of faculty and staff would have, is being able to schedule things. So it'd be nice if there are some things that we could do that would combine the different types of exercise. Are there some, like resistance? What could I do without having to go and do weights that I would do as part of my cardio?
That's okay. And well, see, luckily for you is with basketball, it's actually there, because a lot of people want to say when they're doing basketball that they're doing cardio, and technically you're not. You're actually doing all anaerobic exercise. You're going from nothing to a lot, to nothing to a lot. If you don't believe me, any basketball player, you can put a heart rate monitor on them. If they don't have the ball in their hand, they're usually not moving. That's all there is to it. They think they're moving the entire time they're on the court. But if you put a heart rate monitor on them, and whenever you see it go below 120, you're like, hey, you're not doing anything. You weren't doing anything. If you read it, you'll be amazed. Full court basketball, used to do it, wore heart rate monitors just to see when I wasn't. Yeah, once you get past that little jog and you get to stand there, most people just want to stand there until they get the ball. Throw me the ball. Okay, don't. Okay, go ahead. Okay, let's go to the other side. There's a lot of standing. I mean, racquetball. There's less, but it's a spurt. Ball's done. The person doesn't just run and grab the ball to serve. It's more like a ooh, ooh. involves intervals, it helps that is in the resistant realm. So again, just walking, that's pure cardio. Sprinting is pure anaerobic. A run, jog, probably do better for anybody. It's not Tibetan, it's Tibeta has become a huge boot camp class, and it's a doctor or a coach who was with the Russian Olympics for speed skaters. It was basically a 4-minute interval, 45 seconds at what they called 170%. I find that impossible because 100% is supposed to be the most. If not, then 200 and they're not doing enough. I hate that. I hate it when they say, give me 110. I'm like, does that mean all I have now and then a little bit later because I'm lost there? But let's say 100% all out, which is still impossible. 15 seconds rest. That's it. 100% all out, 45 seconds, 15-second rest. 100%, 4 minutes. Do you know how they advertise it? 4 minutes. Is 4 minutes? 4 minutes enough? Yes, it is. Well, guess what? To get the start of that 4 minutes, it takes at least 15 minutes. You really have to warm up a lot to do 100% effort, period. And when you're done with all that, if you just stop, you're not going to get a benefit. You got to get all that crap out that you built up in there. You have to cool down. We're still talking 45 minutes to an hour because it's such intensity in the middle. But walk, run, walk, sprint, walk, jog, something like that. Probably do somebody. Most people who jog, all they do is they get out and they jog. They never sprint. That's what's going to make them faster in the long run. If you don't experience that higher speed, you'll never be able to be their comfort. So strength resistance, if you will, or resistance training is usually what involves strength. And actually intervals is not talked about enough with resistance training because intervals can act as the cardio strength version.
So cycling or swimming, same principle basically?
Yeah, me being a cyclist, if I want to go at my comfort level all the time, I'm never going to improve. Like it's just like you can walk all day, you're going to get somewhere, you're not going to get anywhere fast, and after a while, you're not. It's going to be so routine that it's not a stimulus for your body. I've got to throw.
Still good for you though.
Yes,
Right?
yes. I've got to throw sprints in at least half of my rides if I'm trying to get faster. I've got to throw a 1 minute sprint in on my bicycle.
I heard that like doing an hour of just, regular biking compared to doing like 15 or 20 minutes of intervals of like going really fast for a minute or two and then going at a more regular pace and going really fast. Then you get this around the same.
And they're trying to recognize that as well. So if you want to do something at an easy rate, you just have to do it a lot longer. If you are willing to go 100%,
But it's interesting that you don't have to go 100% for the whole time. It's like going 100%, then going back down.
And that's because you can't.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you could, it'd be a very short workout. But what you're hoping for is that 15 minutes or 30 minutes of all out is really all out. And basically what you're doing is avoiding the middle road that you do the next day. Now that middle road, that jog, I want to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, I want to work on getting faster. So I'm going to walk, and then I'm going to sprint. And I'm going to stop sprinting when I physically can't. And then how long do I walk? Until I know I can start to sprint again. That's when it comes to self-motivation with intervals. If you don't have a clock on you, it's self-motivation. And so again, a lot of people are like, well, is it 15 seconds? It depends on your shape. Let's say initially it might be a 15-second all out and a 45-second rest. A couple months later down the line, it might be 45 minutes all out, 45 seconds all out, 15-minute rest. That's what the goal is to increase how long you can do that 100%. But yeah, the more comfortable you get your body at 100%, the easier it is to go 50. But again, you have to be in some sort of shape already before you start. And that's my disclaimer.
One thing in yoga, I really like in the breathing exercises. They are so good. How good are they from an exercise point of view?
Oh, well, the one thing that I have the hardest time with when I'm training people to weight train is deep breathing. So the easiest people I have a time training have been yoga people because they got the breath part down. I think I've experienced more enforcement on concentrating on my breathing doing yoga than anything in my life. Now, I'll agree with you on that. You know, bend in a pretzel, oh yeah, breathe. I can't. Go ahead. If I don't breathe, I won't be able to stay in this position. Because when people get into an uncomfortable position, it's natural to hold your breath. Yeah. So if you breathe, A, it makes that position much more comfortable. B, it's the nutrients. It's everything that needs to be involved in that muscle to help that. Also, when you breathe, you relax. If you hold your breath, your body is actually tensed up. We may not notice that, but at a molecular level, that makes a big difference. Especially when you're trying to increase flexibility and you're in a position and you're trying, well, breathe so it makes it easier. And what I mean by that is if you just sit there in a position and you go to stretch, then you exhale, you'll feel yourself dropping. You'll inhale and exhale. It's almost like you can go, it helps. Now breathing, yes, especially the deep. If I find myself in distress on my bicycle, especially on my mountain bike, I will catch myself forcing my breath out. The little lion, people looking at me, I'm breathing here. But it's forcing me to exhale. People breathe very shallow when they exercise. So if you breathe deep and exhale deep, like yoga has taught us to do, it actually makes a huge difference.
This is the third in a series of our wellness presentations, and the previous two both emphasize breathing. We talked about anxiety and ways of reducing anxiety, and the presenter talked about breathing exercises as a way to help with anxiety or stress. And the vocal coaching, the voice coaching that we had previously, same thing. There are these breathing exercises that actually help you to preserve your vocal cords and to do better in terms of presenting stuff. So interesting that breathing is so important.
Yeah.
It's like we do it all the time.
It's amazing to me after paying attention to it how many people just even sitting at their desk or sitting around breathe so shallow. They don't take full breaths, and it really and truly is what keeps our our oxygen capacity, our lung volume from decreasing. Because as you age, just like everything, it can decrease. So the more you use them, keep them open. It's like I said, it used to be a labor, even just because I wasn't paying attention to, like I could go so far, and now it's like, ooh, that was a good one. I could feel it, I can tell. Going to sleep, just laying down and relaxing and getting control of the breathing, I can tell that's taking place. So
the other thing is the breathing makes you really energetic. Like, I do it like every day. I couldn't do it in the morning, so I do it in the afternoon, like around 3 or 4 o'clock. And it makes me so active, like energetic, that I can do like 10 things after that.
and the reason being is it really is. It's really,
You feel so light.
yes,
after doing that.
when we go into oxygen depth, our body actually borrows. We've got pockets, and believe it or not, our body has places in between organs that it actually steals from itself and uses during extreme exercise. Breathing techniques can actually overindulge in that oxygen, and you will have extra energy. And if you can keep doing that, it's all because the only limiting ability that we have as a human is our lungs. If we had a direct tap of oxygen into our veins, nothing would cause us to ever slow down.
Now that they have oxygen masks.
No, but we're probably on that philosophy. But literally, our lungs are God's downfall. It's like if there's something he was not done perfect, now, if that was done perfect, we might find something else. But at the exercise level is what our limiting capacity is oxygen. And what falls short is our body's ability to get that into the body. If we had a direct line of oxygen to our blood and it stayed oxygenated, we would not stop. You could basically sprint all day.
And that's one of the findings of people that exercise regularly and consistently is increased perception of energy
And
across
you
the day.
sleep better.
Yeah, I think it's because you're tired because you exercise though.
Yeah. That's a good reason.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
No
Jerry.
problem.
That was very good.
yes, ma'am.
Like, if you're doing
Thank you.
cardio, like 40 minutes of cardio is required to lose, if you one is trying to lose weight. So like 40 minutes on one machine